Listen, ladies and gentlemen, the boss lady's here. Janelle Monáe has taken over the program. Hi.
Ain't no Ebro.
Whoa, I've been erased.
This is officially the Dirty Computer Janelle Monáe takeover.
If you know any of our interviews, generally I spend a lot of time admiring you. That happens.
Yes,
a lot of time. Too much time.
Yeah, because you know this is the Me Too movement. This is the Time's Up movement.
Yo,
so we got to keep it. We got to keep it.
Keep it focused.
You know, absolutely.
Keep it business.
Yes, because they watching. I'm watching.
But I need a pass because the album is sexual this time.
I've always been.
Yeah, but I feel like
very much so sexual in all my music.
Yes.
Every album.
Yes. However, this time it's a little more overt, would you say?
No, I think that I'm flexing different muscles. I think that there's a different way that I'm expressing myself and allowing myself to be a complete human being. I knew that I was supposed to make this album before I made the Archandroid. I felt an obligation to continue Cindy Mayweather and the stories and be in 2719 as a writer and as someone who felt like my fan base, my fandroids, I like to call them my support system, supported me this far, and I just didn't want to let them down. But Dirty Computer has been in my heart for a while, and I needed to live with me. I needed to have more conversations with myself. I needed to break out of feeling like I needed to be anybody's image that they would prefer me to be, but rather be my unique, honest, complicated, complex self. And that's what you see on Dirty Computer.
You know, obviously, what Make Me Feel, which I think is the first record you dropped, or did Django Jane and Make Me Feel happen at the same time?
They came together.
Came at the same time.
Same time.
Straight Up Prince and Done Well, right? And you know, I'm sure you're gonna do a lot of conversations and have a lot of interviews with people who, you know, ask you about Prince, and we may get into that. But I don't know. It feels like you're the perfect person at this point in music. Somebody that we know Prince loved. Somebody that we know would share space and music and recording and stage and life with. For you to pull this together and make it sonically perfect. I know for Prince fans, it's like a dream come true in some ways because you're keeping him alive the right way.
Well, I'm honored that you would say that, but I must say that there's only one Prince, and there will never be another. I had the opportunity to, you know, be inspired by Prince, just like you, just like the rest of the world growing up. In fact, I used to be terrified of Prince. I could not watch his videos. I had a dream that he chased me in a purple suit. It was something about watching this black man. I'd never seen a black man express himself like that. Yeah. And it scared me. You know, I don't know if it was because maybe I hadn't been comfortable with tapping into my fearlessness. It's just like you got this sense that he was a free ass motherfucker, right? Yeah. And I don't know if I was ready to tap into my free ass motherfucker nature, but I think what I love most is that I got the opportunity to get to know the man who everybody looked at as this mysterious otherworldly being. You know, I did get the opportunity to perform on stage with him. In fact, he had the first copy of my first album. I gave it to him at Paisley Park, and I got a chance to see that he was such a philanthropic person. Like, he gave, and he didn't want people to know what he gave. And he's given a lot to me, and any way that I can honor him and just, you know, remind this generation of how much he paved the way for artists like myself. I mean, you know, he'll always be a part of me and in my heart and in my spirit.
That's so dope.
Yeah.
From everything from being, you know, sexy and sexual to political and kicking ass. I mean, the album covers it. Do you feel, was that in your brain? You knew you was covering all that ground, or you was just making records?
I think I was just tapping into all the dimensions that I have, that I haven't really expressed. I knew that this time would come because these are conversations that I have with my family, my friends. This is me, you know, all the time. And I think Django Jane and both Make Me Feel are great representations of just where I am. It's about agency. It's about women's rights. I think Django Jane was a song that was a direct response to the sting, what it feels like to feel like your rights as a woman are being trampled on. What it feels like to turn on the TV and see that your very existence as a black person in America means that you could easily be killed.
That's right.
Just because
no value.
You look like a threat.
Yep.
You know, what it means for somebody to come from a poor class and you see the people in the position of power say that all they're concerned about is tax breaks for the rich, and the parents that you grew up loving and you still love, who wore uniforms every single day, who were janitors, who were sanitation workers, post office workers, they don't give a fuck about them. You know what I'm saying? Like, strip away the makeup, strip away whatever you know about Janelle Monáe. At the end of the day, I'm a young black woman living in America, and these are things that matter to me. And I didn't want to, there's no politically correct way to talk about those things. It's like, you know, as an artist, I'm not a politician, so I felt like my obligation was to be as honest and open and as truthful in my response as possible.
I want to ask you, is it Jane's Dream? Is that the one that starts with the excerpt from the MLK speech, or is that Crazy?
Oh, that's Crazy Classic Life.
Crazy Classic Life.
Because Dirty Computer, and then it goes into
Crazy Classic Life.
Yeah.
The reason I want to ask you about that is because I feel like that song, the second song on the album, you know, once again, you are allowing a thought that most people don't get to have, where you are consciously customizing what you want your life to be.
Yeah, it's just talking about the right to the American dream. You know, the pursuit of happiness. Aren't we all supposed to have it? Do we all have it? No, that's debatable. The album is broken up into 3 parts. So like songs 1, 2, 3, 4, that's the reckoning. That's you feeling the sting of being called for the first time by a white person. Feeling the sting of being called bitch by a man for the first time. Feeling the sting of being called queer or by homophobic people. Feeling the sting of, you know, being poor and somebody continuing to take from you. It's reckoning and dealing with what it means to be called a dirty computer. Then it goes into the celebration, which is Django Jane, which is Make Me Feel Pink, Juice, and I Like That. All 5 of those songs celebrate what it means to be a dirty computer. It's celebrating yourself. And then you go into like that little small moment of being very, very fearful of standing up for your rights and speaking up and speaking out. When you hear songs like
Don't Judge Me.
Don't Judge Me and So Afraid. And finally, like that third movement is the reclamation, and that's Americans. And that's when you say, I too am American. I'm not going to Canada. You know, I'm not going to run and hide. My ancestors built this country off their backs, their blood, their sweat, their tears, their hands, literally. You know, if it were not for all the dirty computers around the world, those who are oftentimes more than none marginalized, America wouldn't be great. You know, this country would not thrive and prosper in the way that it has.
So Janelle, I'm trying to understand dirty computer, as you've used it, and you just used it several times in reference to human beings.
Sure.
But for everybody out there listening right now that may not quite understand what you mean, including myself, asking for a friend. What's a dirty computer?
No, it's all good. So you know we come from dirt. You know, and when we transition out, we'll go back to dirt. I think it came to me in a dream that we are computers. We are CPUs, our brains. We're uploading, downloading, we're transmitting. You know, we are passing back and forth information. And with all computers, you got your bugs, you got your viruses, right? Are those negatives? Are those positives? Are those features or not? And I think it's a conversation that I want to have with us as a society, as human beings, about what it means to tell somebody that the way that they're programmed, their existence, their very existence, whether they're queer LGBTQIA in that community, whether they are minorities, whether they're bugs or viruses, or those, whether being a woman, whether being poor makes you have bugs and viruses. What is it like to live in a society that is constantly trying to cleanse you and tell you that you need to conform? You need to be reprogrammed, deprogrammed. And so I just wanted to talk about my own bugs and viruses and how I'm choosing to deal with it, you know, how I'm choosing to resist that whole notion, because dirty computers don't see those bugs and viruses as negatives. Those are things that make them unique. And it's about embracing those things that make you unique, even if it makes others uncomfortable.